All right, so infection control. What is the purpose? The purpose is to reduce the number and hinder the transfer of disease-causing microorganisms from one person to another or from one place to another. So now we're going to go over some definitions. Probably, again, since this is, a bold black statement, everything under definitions for infection control is what you're going to want to know for quiz 1, okay? So, a microorganism. A microorganism is a small organism that's always present in the environment. Pathogen. Pathogen is a disease-causing microorganism or bug. Disinfection also means to clean. Disinfection is when you destroy most bugs, and it slows down the growth and activity of bugs that can't be killed. Sterilization is when you destroy all bugs. Please make sure you know the difference between the two. Disinfection kills most, sterilization kills all. Sepsis. Sepsis means dirty. It means microorganisms are present. Asepsis means it's clean. It's a germ-free condition. So even when we're talking in terms of like trying to break apart these words, these medical words, asepsis is another good example of one. Pretty much any time that you see like an A dash or an A as a prefix in front of the word, it means without. So we can see that sepsis means dirty. So if I put A in front of sepsis and A means without, it literally means without dirt, or in other words, clean. And it works like that for pretty much, I don't want to say like any word, but if you put A in front of a word, it means without. It works the same way with other prefixes too. Like if you put dis in front of a word, it means difficulty. Medical asepsis is a state of being free from disease-causing microorganisms. So again, sepsis means dirty, A means without. So asepsis means without dirt or being clean. Medical asepsis is being clean or without dirt, but it's being free or clean of disease-causing microorganisms. And then a carrier is a person or an organism infected with an infectious disease but not displaying any symptoms. So this would be a perfect example of this would be a person that has COVID. A lot of times, well, I'm not going to say, a lot of times, but it is known that people can be a carrier of COVID because they have it in them, but they're not showing any symptoms. They're asymptomatic. So again, symptomatic means you're showing signs and symptoms. Asymptomatic means you're without signs and symptoms. See how that works? So these people can actually spread disease to other people. Again, even though they're not showing any signs and symptoms themselves, they can pass the disease on to somebody else, and then that person may show symptoms. Infection. An invasion of a host organism by a disease-causing microorganism, their multiplication, and the reaction of the host tissue to these organisms and the toxins they produce. Inflammation. A biological response of vascular tissues to harmful stimuli. Contamination. That means the presence of bugs. A nosocomial infection, you'll hear that term. Basically, that is an infection that is contracted in a facility. So in other words, you came in with C. diff, but you caught pneumonia while you were in the hospital. Then that pneumonia would be like a nosocomial infection. You got it while you were at the facility. All right, so the importance of infection control. Please take note. This is blue. I think blue is your final. Microorganisms are always present in the environment, and some of these cause disease. E. coli, MRSA, VRE, bacteria, viruses, funguses. The elderly are more susceptible, and it increases the safety of environment. All right, so next we're going to talk about factors that promote the growth of microorganisms. Now, please take note, this slide says the growth of microorganisms. This next slide says factors that promote spread. Please make sure that you understand the difference between growth, versus spread. So factors that promote growth of a microorganism or that multiplication of themselves. You have food. Bacteria need an organic source such as flesh, blood, to nourish themselves. Moisture. They prefer a moist place. Oxygen. Most microorganisms need oxygen to live. Temperature. Most thrive at body temperature. Some are killed by high temperatures above 170 degrees. Cold temperatures only slow growth. That's why hospitals are cold. It's not, because they want to make you sleepy or anything. It's to slow the growth of all them germs that they got there. They need a limited light source. Most microorganisms thrive in dark and die when exposed to light. And they need a susceptible host, an individual with a compromised immune system. So to help me remember the factors that promote growth, I have a little bit of here's how I remember it. Any place that is warm, moist, dark, and it has food. That pretty much covers this entire thing. And remember, the food doesn't necessarily need to be like food. It can be blood. Like when people get like a blood infection or they get septic, in their blood. I mean, think about just the type of environment of where your blood is located in your body. Your body is naturally warm. It's in a dark place because, light can't get into your body. It's already moist because of the blood, and your body's 90% water. And it already has a food source. The blood itself can be a food source. I pretty much cover all of these. So, same thing when you're talking about like a UTI, okay, a urinary tract infection. Again, think about where it happens at. Down there in the peri area, it's warm, it's moist, it's dark, and you got food down there. Again, food can be like flesh, urine, feces, blood, blah, blah, blah. So just make sure you remember, again, the difference between growth and spread. Growth is the multiplication of the microorganisms or the bad bugs. It's going from few to many. And then spread is going from point A to point B. So this down here is the chain of infection. This is how basically people will get sick.